Cheers was something that we believed in. We didn't offer any smart, sophisticated adult television on NBC. And we looked at Cheers and we thought, this is great. It's funny. I'm rooting for Sam and Diane. This is what we had hoped, getting in business with the Charles brothers and Jimmy Burrows. This is what we hoped it would mean for NBC. And it was getting killed. It was getting killed in the ratings. Why would an audience come to NBC for that kind of entertainment when they'd never been to NBC before for that kind of entertainment? And as Brandon and I were worried about its future, Grant Tinker said to us, so do you have anything better? And we said, no. And he goes, well, then there's really no discussion about whether or not you're going to renew it. And Brandon correctly pointed out to Grant, we were the lowest rated series in all of network television. And Grant said, do you have anything better? And we said, no. And he goes, end of discussion. And I think that kind of patience rewarded because, of course, Cheers was a great show. When Cosby went into Thursday night and opened the night for us, followed by Family Ties, Cheers at 9 o'clock, it was a blockbuster night. And we had T-shirts that we made up for the affiliates and handed them out at the affiliate convention that said, patience rewarded. And that really was the philosophy. As
Grant's?
Yeah, as Grant would say, first be best, then be first.
How was Cheers developed? I know you said that there was a 13-episode blind commitment to Charles Brothers and Jimmy Burrows, but was there an official pitch for Cheers? Did they?
There was a pitch, and it was a famously kind of a non-pitch, actually. One of the observations that the Charles Brothers made was they said, you know, about the only young adult comedy that's on network television is Three's Company, John Ritter's show. And they said, you know, that show's fine, but it seems to us there's a whole realm of television entertainment, romantic comedy, relationship comedy that the door is wide open for us. They really haven't covered everything with Three's Company. Of course, that was very, very silly and certainly a successful show, but they saw that it meant there was a wide open landscape. And we appreciated that observation. It was really kind of an interesting observation. And they talked about movies like His Girl Friday, and they really thought they could capture a Tracy Hepburn kind of energy and back and forth, male-female point of view where each one is just as strong as the other. And they loved the idea of a bar, just a bar in Boston. They had gone on a scouting trip and they'd wandered into the Bull and Finch in Boston, and they just felt, yeah, this is a place we'd like to hang out. This is a place we'd like to go. And that was what they brought to Cheers. So the pitch was very, very simple. Not a lot fleshed out with the characters, not story, more of a feeling of what they wanted to capture. And we said yes.
Which was risky because that would mean 13.
The deal was they could write up to 2 scripts, and we had 13 on the air. 13 firm on the air, not write a little check and get out of the commitment. 13 on the air episodes. They wrote Cheers, and we read it, and we were smart enough to say, this is it. You don't have to pitch another show. You don't just, let's go do it.
And were you involved in the casting?
I was. And the interesting process in the casting was they got six actors to audition, and they paired them up. And we went over to a stage at Paramount, and they did a couple of scenes. And Ted Danson and Shelley Long were matched up together, and they were wonderful. They were really, really wonderful. But the other guy, who was also good, was Fred Dreyer. And Jimmy Burrows had managed to really coach Fred through a terrific audition. And a number of us went, boy, Fred Dreyer is kind of the Sam Malone character, isn't he? And Charles Brothers and Jimmy said, Fred's great. You should put him in a drama, but we don't think he can do this every week and handle the demands of being at the center of a comedy. And we listened.
What was your relationship like with Charles Brothers?
I was in awe of the Charles Brothers. One of the things that I'd never seen before with a showrunner is that previously showrunners would pitch a story, and then there'd be another story the next week and another story, and the Charles Brothers would step back, and they would have an entire arc for a season, and they'd say, here's where we're going to start the year with Sam and Diane. And here's what's going to happen. Here's the wedge that's going to be driven between the two of them. And here's where we begin, here's a midpoint, and here's where we'll end. And in fact, there were wonderful individual episodes, but they knew where they were going. They had an arc, they had a connectiveness throughout the seasons. And no one had ever articulated that's how they were going to do their shows before. And the writers flourished in that environment. And we saw lots of young writing talent come up under their direction. And they were playing with a different set of rules, with a different set of standards, and we benefited from it.